Penske's mad at Keselowski?
Penske's mad at Keselowski.
Yeah. I had to go back and look at it. I see their beef. I don't know that, like, you're not always going to have things go your way. But what their beef was that the 6 was not keeping their line moving. And we've said on this podcast many times that when you see your favorite driver in a given line and you're hoping that line goes forward, it goes way beyond that driver's responsibility. And if they're leading it, the leader of that pack is just a bystander of what happens well beyond him. And we talked about when the 45 pulled out of the top line, it killed that whole top line coming to the start-finish line. Who was in front, the 22 or the 12? I think it was the 12. The 22 was doing his best to stay attached to the 12. I thought he was actually doing a really good job. The 6 always kind of had like a gap to the 22. And so he wasn't giving Joey enough of a shove to push the 12 as much as he probably wanted to. And then that goes back to, well, then I, as a competitor, because I know how this works, I'm like, okay, well, who's behind the 6? And you got to kind of back it. You got to keep backing up to figure out where's the disconnect, because all it takes is one person in that line choosing to say, I don't want to go all out. I need to save fuel here. It just takes one person in that line to not be all out for that line to just not go anywhere. And so I don't know the details. It looks like to me that the 6 should have been able to keep up with the 22. He didn't for whatever reason. And I don't know if it was trying to save fuel. Maybe they were short on fuel. Maybe I look at the 60. And by the way, that whole nother side issue, Trav, me and you were trying to look, and I'm watching the replay on a computer like this. And I couldn't tell who the 4th car in line on the bottom was. I'm looking and I'm like, who is that? And I'm like, that's on TV. You could not even tell what car that was.
Yeah.
That's a different tangent, but it was the 60. And so was he doing his job? Keeping the 6, he's got to stay on tight on the 6 to make sure that he takes the drag off the 6 to then he can get to the 22. And then the 22 now can be more aggressive pushing the 12 and then that line forward. There's so many factors that you would truthfully need a simulcast of someone explaining this as you're watching it for you the fans at home to understand it. But we're trying our best today to tell you all the factors and why maybe your driver didn't, their line didn't go on a given day. But that's what Penske was complaining about, is that the 6 was not staying close enough to them to keep their line moving. And Joey said something about, me and the 12 were doing our jobs, but if anyone in your line was, if they're trying to save fuel, then your line's never going to go forward. I don't know whether, maybe he was told that the 6 was saving fuel, but you said that Bullen said after the race that they weren't saving fuel.
Yeah, they were fine. He told Jordan Bianchi.
Yeah, so then I, as a driver, I would need to go back and look and see, was Keselowski wide open and during that last run, or was he laying off for a reason, or was he not getting the help that he needed?
My thing is also so what if he was saving fuel? That's not his problem. Like, it's okay for you to save fuel during the race, but at this point you don't want people to save fuel, so it's not allowed.
Well, I think what he's saying is that everyone came to pit road to get the fuel they needed. So everyone should have been fine on fuel. So there was no reason for anyone to be saving fuel inside 15 laps to go.
This just feels like general frustration. The race was going great for Penske all day, and here's the last moment that we can point to of where it turned. But truthfully, there's 10 plus laps to go. And if it wasn't this, it could have been anything that shuffled Penske out of the mix.
Jared with the A+ take again.